8 years ago, I was putting myself through college. I was traveling with the auto show circuit, doing some local commercial work, things of that nature, and several of my friends had plastic surgery and had pretty good results with it, and it kind of got me thinking that maybe I could do something that would maybe enhance the way I looked.
Back in her mid-20s, Dawn was concerned about what she calls her straight shape. A number of her friends had opted for breast augmentation with great results, and they all had gone to the same doctor.
It was a fairly well-known doctor in the metropolitan area, someone that people would probably know if they heard the name, so I felt very comfortable with it.
But in her consultation with the doctor, Dawn saw no photos or drawings.
I could visually see the size of the implants, in some way project how I thought it would look. But to be honest with you, I didn't really consider a lot of different options.
In short, she trusted her doctor. But after her surgery, Dawn was not pleased. Her bust line, she felt, was just too big.
Maybe it's the way my body is shaped or the way the implants were positioned, but just for me personally, I was never happy with the way I looked after that. I was constantly trying to cover it up, wearing various bras and concealers and things that would pull me in to try to make it look a little more natural. I didn't think it looked natural on my body.
Fast forward 7 years. Married with 2 young daughters, Dawn was still unhappy with her breasts, but now she was determined to do something about it.
I just tried to read everything I could. I visited many websites and just tried to see if there were any options out there for me.
And what she found was a lot of information about having implants removed and new ones inserted. But Dawn just wanted her implants out and her former body back. About that, she found many dire warnings.
You'll have a terrible outcome, it doesn't look right, you're disfigured.
She began seeing doctors. The first claimed the ability to do what Dawn wanted, but there was a problem.
I wasn't confident that this particular doctor had done this particular procedure before, so I was a little apprehensive.
The next doctor repeated those warnings.
I would absolutely be unhappy if I had them removed and not replaced, that I would hate the way I looked, that I would be very dissatisfied with that, and that I should really consider having them removed and replaced and just positioned differently.
Dawn kept looking at websites for before and after photos.
And I found this one particular woman who looked fantastic, who had had implants placed and had them removed, several years later, and she looked great. And I remember just thinking, if I can find this doctor, and if he's relatively close, if I can fly to where he is, then I'll go see him. And luckily, he was in Roseville.
And so Dawn drove from her home in White Lake to meet with Dr. Kayser.
Immediately, I could tell he was very, very warm, very kind, very considerate, very compassionate about my story. He listened very carefully to what had happened, and when I was very clear that I didn't want to have the implants replaced, he dropped the subject, was very good about, okay, this is what we can do for you. You're going to have a great result, and this is how I'm going to do it, and I was very happy.
Not knowing what Dawn looked like before, the doctor could not offer guarantees.
But he could give me a good idea based on how much breast tissue he thought I naturally had, somewhere around the ballpark of where he thought I would be. Now, of course, I had had 2 children in the meantime, so my body had changed some, but he assured me that he would do the very best that he could with the breast lift procedure that he used.
Dawn was confident she had found the right doctor.
Considering that I had seen before and after pictures of the exact same procedure done before, I was pretty confident that I could get the result that I was looking for.
The big day arrived a month later.
I was in surgery for 5.5 hours because the scar tissue was quite extensive on that one side. But I was very encouraged. Everything went fine. I think I stopped taking pain medication about 2 days after. I probably could have stopped sooner than that, but I'm kind of a baby. So I was up and around. I was helping with one of my daughter's classes a lot during that time, and I was up the very next week working with preschoolers.
Now, a year later, Dawn says she feels terrific.
I would say that I look probably better now than I did before, just because of the way that Dr. Kayser lifted up my breast tissue and repositioned the breast. I think that they look much better even than they did before.
Dawn says she'd recommend Dr. Kayser to anyone.
Not only